And always try to have, at the very least, one thing you love, one thing you have loved, and, perhaps most importantly, one thing you will someday love. Sometimes the blessings of this world became so much for Gerard that the only thing he could think to do was climb into a hot air balloon and go throw flowers into the mountains. I started drawing randomly, and one day I just started doodling on a piece of paper, and thus began a slight passion for drawing in the beginning, and then it kind of snowballed. When I started drawing, they were stickmen in the beginning. That was what I drew, and that was the whole series for quite some time. It was a stickman series. And eventually, after just, repetitive action, I became a little bit better, and it started to seem a little absurd to keep drawing stickmen. So I just slowly, one day their eyes became not little dots, but like a dot in a circle, and then not a dot in a circle, but a dot in a circle and another line that made an eyelid, and then eventually their bodies kind of filled out. I attempt to create images and worlds and creatures that are at once profound and silly at the same time. And I do that because I think that most of the lessons that I've learned in my life that I've counted as most valuable are at once silly and profound. And I think that's the whole of life. The movement from the illustration series into the Melted Crayon series came basically from just a desire to switch up medium in kind of almost a brain stimulation exercise. They're entirely different. I think I engage different parts of myself when I interact with those pieces. One is very narrative, and the other one is much more abstract. A lot of times it just starts with a color. You just start with one color and a blank canvas, and then as it evolves, I start to come up with a plan.
See, that's going to take quite a few crayons getting that guy to stick.
I relate to all of the different mediums that I use in a completely different way, so it really depends on how I'm feeling that day. If I want to be more abstract and not be so narrative and conceptual, then I'm going to move towards the crayon art. If I want to sit there at a desk hunched over and just kind of turn my brain off a little bit, that's the drawing stuff a lot. At the same time, I've realized that it's really important for me personally just to be able to have as much time as I want to make art and not have any other goal than that going into the creative process.
That'll do.
There's a moment where I can step back from it and look at it more as something that I've created separate from the creative process and realize that I do want exposure for that. And a lot of that has to do with the way I watch people interact with it when they're in my gallery. Whether blind and grasping beneath the sliver of a moon, or whether wild and burning straight into the sun, keep looking everywhere and always for that one thing you will someday love. I simply want to be able to make art more than I do anything else. I want to not have to do anything else except for make art. I mean, of course, there's many other things that I want to do, but I don't necessarily have any other trajectory that I'm aiming for other than that.